Well, my friends, the summer has come and gone. The preseason is over, and we are ready to get bedded in with the start of season number 2 of our Director of Football save. Except we have a little bit of a problem. We currently have 17 players in our senior squad, and that's only because we called up 4 of our youth team members just to fill out the empty slots. I think Jesús is still on vacation. That doesn't mean he hasn't been at work, and everybody, welcome back to the start of season number 2 of our Director of Football save. We have let Jesús take the wheel, and I am very nervous for the beginning of this year. We're kicking things off against Tamworth. We're going to play that match a little bit later on. He has been doing some work, however, from the beach, apparently. He did sign a 21-year-old striker, pretty good-looking one by the name of Joey Dawson. I wish he was a little bit faster, but he stands at 6'2". He can play that advanced forward role, and because Ronan Marr and Mr. Overton are not back this season, because we didn't renew their loans, even though Overton wanted to re-sign, but for some reason Jesús never said, hey, let's extend this loan. And because we're not touching anything, I had to use all of my willpower to not click that button. So Gabriel Overton, our top scorer, our player of the year, gone for this year. But Joey Dawson is in. We also picked up another 21-year-old. He can play anywhere along the back line. I'd like for him to play out as one of our backs. However, numbers dictate that we may not be able to do that. Jack Burchell, 21 years old, can't really head, and he's not the greatest jumper in the world, but he is 6'1", so he could plug a hole in the middle. Needs some work on his defensive positioning. His tackling and marking are just about bang average, but we're getting a body in on the back line because, we need a lot of those bodies. Unfortunately, he's inconsistent and injury prone. Adding to the mix on the back is 18-year-old Kevin Adweni. He actually just signed for us. We have not seen him in action yet. He's 6 foot, can't really get in the air, but when he gets his head on the ball, he knows exactly what to do with it. Our scouts on our staff think he has a potential League One standard to his ability. Good tackling as well, good decision making, and I like his aggression. I'm going to be very excited to see what Kevin can do. Now we get to the outs, and this is where I'm starting to have my issue with Jesús. First, he let Jordan Masidi go. He is at MK Etansiete, which is in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, which is where he is from. He spent 3 seasons at Rushall. We did get him on a free transfer originally, so we didn't lose any money on this deal. 7 goals, 6 assists last year for us. Very excited to have that production, and very sad it's no longer here. Like I said, here is where I have my big issue, because we released 7 players who were out of contract, and they were all players who could have been somewhat useful to us. Sam Mantom did want to re-sign, but we couldn't come to terms on the 32-year-old. He basically wanted to be an important player, and we're like, no, dude, you are not going to be playing all of that much. I mean, we value you, but... So he ended up not signing and got released. Andre Londell, he kind of wanted to stay. We never really got to the point where he was rejecting contracts, but we were getting a ton of offers for him, and he was rejecting each and every one of them. So somehow we let him go. He joined Hendon on an amateur contract. Really could have used Jordan Brown on our back line, but the 32-year-old did not want to sign a new contract with us. We still could have kept him around, but nope, he's a free agent. Callum Coyle was very useful for us out on the left wing, was pretty good for us last year. 5 goals, 6 assists. That production, gone. 24-year-old Alex Stryker was out on loan last year, scored 8 goals for the club he was playing for. I believe it was Redditch, if I am not mistaken. We decided that we weren't going to need his services, and when I say we, I mean Jose, of course. So he is also available on a free transfer should we choose Jose to bring him back. Mitch Clark, the 31-year-old center back, who I realized was probably originally supposed to be a main part of our team, ended up getting his playing time dramatically reduced as we were bringing in more and more center backs. He did not want to re-sign with us, but now he's without a job. And finally, Alex Moore, the midfielder we managed to absolutely tick off last year by not fulfilling our promise of playing him more. Even though we did play him more, I guess we didn't play him nearly as much more as he expected, so he also is looking for new work. I can't believe this, but I almost forgot about one more player that joined us on a free transfer. In fact, he's now our captain because he's one of our few players who's over the age of 24, and that is Jordi Haiwula. He is a striker. Ignore the down arrows. We just played a friendly not that long ago, although apparently he is kind of backsliding a little bit at the age of 29, but that's okay. He's got a decent amount of pace and acceleration. He can get in the air for a guy who's 5'10". He's a good player for most of the Vanarama National North sides. He's fairly loyal. I guess that's a positive. He also has a fair amount of pace. His acceleration is pretty good. Obviously, he doesn't like big matches because if you liked big matches, why would you be playing here? So he's going to be paired next to Joey Dawson as our strike pair. We're sticking with the 4-4-2 for now. We're moving Jaden Charles up to the left wing because he can play that position, and that means Callum Rowe is going to slot in as our right back. Now, he was out on loan last year, primarily as a central midfielder. He played most of the preseason, honestly, as a central midfielder. He is probably one of our most consistent players, although he's another one of those guys who is apparently injury prone, but I'd like to see what we get out of the 24-year-old, so he's going to be getting the start, and probably most of the starts as our left back, and oh yeah, he's our vice captain. And the reason those guys are filling the captain spots, except for our one player who actually has double-digit leadership, is because that is Teddy Maris, who right now is going to be our backup. Oh my God, I forgot somebody else. Because of the way things are split up with when the season turns over and when the transfer window actually opens, I forgot to tell you about our new goalkeeper. That's Mitchell Beanie, who I think has slightly less hair than even I do. He's 28 years old. We've got him in under contract, even has some value to him. He is a big boy, 6'6". Decent with one-on-ones, good with his distribution. For the most part, his short distribution needs work, but we are training him up on that. Good aerial reach as well. His agility isn't the greatest, but he makes up for it a little bit with his reflexes. Likes to rush out, which works for us. And I'm very glad that he is here because just watching him play, he just seems so much more settled in the position than Jake Weaver, who, by the way, we did end up extending for another year. So of those 17 players, 3 of them play goal. So apologies for that little diversion. Let's go through the rest of the midfield. Sam McClintock is going to get the starts on the right-hand side. It's going to be Max Haygarth, who is probably our best player on paper, according to the media. He's going to be on the left side of our center midfield. He'll be paired with George Dowling, who we brought in last year. He is around for another year. I considered starting 17-year-old Leaf Outerside. He's got a decent amount of talent. He's really not the quickest. He needs to become more consistent, and he might have a problem with injuries, and his passing and crossing aren't... His dribbling isn't great either, but is better than his passing and crossing. So for right now, he's got a ton of potential, but we're going to leave him on the bench. Does also have that nice resolute personality. On the back line, we've already talked about Rowe. Burschel's going to be on the right side. Adweni is going to be on the left side of our center back pair. And to his right is going to be Martin Rutherford, another player from our youth side. He's not great. He's 6 foot and he can get in the air. When he heads the ball, who knows where it's going to go? And who knows if he's going to be able to actually stay with his man. But when he does, he'll actually be able to put in a pretty good tackle. And he's got a decent amount of aggression, so that could serve us pretty well as well. Except he's inconsistent. He's unambitious. And he's got a... that mean streak where he might look to bend the rules. I forget what it's called now. Why don't I hover over that and see that competitive streak? So, yeah, not our best option, but he's really the best of a bad bunch. Speaking of the media, the board expects us to finish mid-table. We are predicted to come in 14th. We've actually moved up that list. I don't know how we've gotten rid of so many quality players that have experience at this level and brought in a couple of guys, that are probably going to help us, but not enough of those guys. Jesús, you got to buckle down, dude. Somehow, now we started things off at the beginning of the summer, 50-1 in 15th. Now we're 33-1 in 14th. So we're climbing this list, even though newly promoted teams like AFC Telford and Macclesfield are ahead of us. Hopefully we can pick up wins against teams we should, like the other newly promoted sides in Leamington FC United and Kettering. So before we head to the game, if you're wondering why we're starting Rutherford, here's our next option in 16-year-old Jensen Kirsch. Again, can get in the air, but doesn't know what to do with it afterwards. Great amount of bravery. I like that. And he's a team player. He's 6'2", doesn't have a ton of strength, can't really mark. His defensive positioning kind of stinks. So we are rolling the dice and taking our chances with the team that we have been given. I honestly expected Jesús to do a lot more business. And to be fair, there are plenty of players that we have extended offers to that ended up opting to go elsewhere, which is disappointing. I know it's a reputation thing for the most part. It could be a money thing. We still don't have a ton of money, although we really haven't eaten too much into our wage budget officially because not everybody is in on a true part-time contract. And we are starting the season at home, so maybe that'll work in our favor as well as we win the ball back in the midfield. McClintock playing it up. Hywula has two men around him. His cross intended for Dawson, picked up by Airbay and sent long. Rutherford heads it away. McClintock looking for Dawson. Can't pick him out again. McClintock once again getting possession in the midfield. Burchell playing it through a ton of bodies. Hywula, Dawson dispossessed. Cleared forward, and Beanie will just settle that down as he drops to his knees. Rolls it out quickly, and Juni Haygarth. Oh, he's dispossessed. Perkins, and Beanie did not get back on his line. And it is Rushall 0, Tamworth 1. I really blame Beanie on that one. He kind of was very lackadaisical getting back in between the sticks. Headed forward, Deacon shooting for that far post, and it's going to curl out wide and lead to a goal kick. Finally getting our first shot on goal, even though we had the majority of the possession in the first 10 minutes of this match. And there's really, Haygarth could have been better on the ball. Absolutely. It's not a one-man show, but Beanie should have been in position, and that, my friends, is unforgivable. Am I going to replace him with Jake Weaver? Hells no. Good tackle there by Dowling, but one back, driven from range, and that will go out as well. So Tamworth with a 1-0 lead. We have that tiny, tiny, tiny sliver of additional possession. We're completing more passes than they are. We have not completed a cross. That is part of our problem. 0 for 9 so far in the crossing department. So McClintock and Jaden Charles is actually good with the crosses. Maybe he's not putting them in from that position. I'm very curious to see if he's taken any, because last year he was masterful sending the ball across, especially the far post. McClintock looking for Dawson. He finds him, chests it down, puts it past Griffith, and Joey Dawson, his first goal of the year to tie things up. Rushall 1, Tamworth 1. And if you think I'm going to now lay off of Beanie for that mistake because we got the goal from Dawson, no, I'm not, because now we should be up 1-0, and instead we are tied, and they've got a final third throw-in in the waning moments of the first half that Arlott John cannot score. A kick save and a beauty by Beanie, though it looked like he was going left and the ball went right, and we got kind of lucky. Off of the corner. Can we head it away? No, but Culain Labard unable to put that one on target. So that should just about do it for the first half. Honestly, we could have been much worse. We actually, after that initial goal, again, the stupidity of Beanie, we really held them to not much, although they did much of the same before we came in, got our first. And I'm going to say that right now it's a toss-up. It could go either way. We did have our hands full with Tamworth last year. I know we lost the match on the road to them on Boxing Day. I believe we drew, if I am not mistaken. I believe we drew on New Year's Day at home. So I'm pretty sure that we have not yet beaten Tamworth in this save. I'm not going to go so far as to call them our bogey team. Absolutely not. Rutherford popping it over the top into the path of Haiwula. Great first touch. He's got a man in the middle. It's Dawson settling it down, dropping it to Haygarth. Haygarth shooting and scoring. Max Haygarth trailing from the midfield with his first of the year. And all of a sudden, it's Rushall Olympic 2, Tamworth 1. Haiwula had beautiful vision on this one, saw he had Dawson. Now, maybe you should have led him a little bit more. Dawson could have potentially one-timed the shot, but I think the better play was to drop it off to the trailing player coming into the box in the form of Max Haygarth, who could be a striker for us, because we do seem to have, if we have one position that we are pretty stocked in, and I use that term loosely, I just mean with bodies, that would be the center midfield. Akaye in, oh, he beats Beanie. How do we not defend those? Yeah, we just lost track of everyone. And Akaye, instead of passing it, which I think is what our defense was anticipating, decided to go for it himself, and just by moving it out wide just that little bit, he was able to get that separation that he needed. Again, another play that maybe Mitchell Beanie should have made. He was good in the preseason, man. Even against the tougher teams. Probably the toughest team we did play was Dagon Red, and we drew them 1-1, and he played very well in that match. Why we're not seeing that in the regular season? Well, only Football Manager knows. Deacon playing it out wide. Rowe will nod it down. Haygarth quickly to Charles. We'll spin it up to Dawson into the middle. Haiwulu's got a man on the right-hand side, but Clintock, he may have been offside. I think Dawson definitely was. Yeah, they're saying first goal of the season. We already know he scored his first earlier. It has been disallowed because we got a little bit ahead of ourselves, but a very nicely styled counterattack, all things considered, just lacking that clinical nature on that front line. Rutherford winning it. Dowling. Rutherford's actually been doing pretty well for a guy who has no talent. Played forward. Dawson into the box. Dawson will take it himself. Griffiths will fight that off and keep it out of the goal, but a very dangerous corner opportunity coming our way. And I'm not sure what I'm going to do as far as subs are concerned. I mean, there are 46 matches in like 38 weeks, so I'm going to need to rotate at some point. And I honestly, I don't even know what the schedule looks like. I'm not sure how quickly after this match we have our second match of the year. But I think we are going to need to get some fresh legs out there. I'm just not sure who and where. Haygarth, come on, put us back ahead, baby. Haygarth, oh, he hits the crossbar. Jeffco clears. One back, though, by McClintock, but it's going to go out behind, and it will be a goal kick. So let's see what we can do here. Rutherford is gassed. So let's move Burchell inside, and we'll bring Dean Henderson in. Dean Henderson is another player who just, he's a body. He's going out there because I just need somebody out there, and it makes me so sad to do that. Jaden Charles isn't playing great, so we're going to move over McClintock, and we'll see what we get out of Leaf outer side. We'll just make those two changes for now with about 20 minutes left. I mean, we do have the match. It's been kind of an up and down match as far as that's concerned. Tamworth now leading in possession, leading in XG, leading in shots. We're even in shots on target. We still are completing more passes. We have completed a couple of crosses, but just 3 out of 22. So still not the numbers that we're looking for, but we do get a nice throw in here. Rowe sending it across, looking back post. It's knocked away by the goalkeeper, settled by Dowling. He'll shoot and he'll score. Jordy Haiwula got a piece of that. Now he was offside. Oh, come on. Oh, come on. They're not even going to show us the replay on that. That is criminal. 82 minutes into this match, and Tamworth threatening as they are in control still in their own end before playing it near side. Arlott John feeding Jones. I knew it. As soon as I saw Adwani getting close to him, I just absolutely knew he was going to clatter him down and we were going to give up a penalty. Jones wins the penalty, takes the penalty, scores the penalty. Rushall 2, Tamworth 3. That just absolutely burns my butt. And I really should get Adwani out of there, but I don't really have anybody to put in there. McClintock, Haygarth sending it across, and that will curl wide. Oh, we're getting chances. So I feel like, generally speaking, the team has played well in this match. However, the penalty did us in. The mistake by the goalkeeper 4 minutes into the match did us in. And honestly, we probably could have stopped the Akwe goal in the 52nd minute, but we didn't. End of the day, though, none of that matters. It's where we end up, and we lose 3-2. Honestly, though, it is just one match, and we may be getting reinforcements. Looks like Jesús has a couple of potential loan deals in the works. I'm not going to show you these guys yet because I don't want to get overly excited, so I'm not even going to look at them myself. Hopefully, they will join us before the start of the next episode, which I think is going to be in the month of November. I think we're going to take on the home match against Alfreton, and then whoever we are playing in the second qualifying round of the FA Cup. Didn't want to come back for Brackley or Buxton. We've already played them on camera. Don't remember if we did Alfreton last season or not, and it was too soon to come back to take on newly promoted FC United, and too long to wait for the Telford match at the end of the month, and that would have been bookended with Warrington and Bishop Stortford, and you guys have seen them already. If you've enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Thank you to everyone who has already between this series and Red Rain. We are closing in on 300 subscribers, so thank you very much. I appreciate that. Our goal is 1,000, but, baby steps. Thank you for joining me. One other stuff to watch, you got it right here, and I will see you next time. New episodes every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday for this series, Monday and Friday for Red Rain. Wherever I see you, I will see you then. Until then, bye-bye.